Hello, everybody. It's time for Trash Told You. I'm your host, Trash Snail. It is March 2nd, which is fucking crazy. Yesterday, when I woke up at midnight, talk about Resident Evil, the power went out. So it was I was playing Resident Evil Requiem, and the power went out. Very bad omen. It was very cool because my street is just riddled with lampposts. So this is the first time, and anytime I've come home, obviously it's going lights and whatnot. But like I looked outside the window, pitch black, looked like something out of a horror movie. But then when it was happening, oh man, it's March 1st. Like, people are sick of me saying this, but it's like faster and faster. Like with everything in life, job, kids, wife, this, like I'm ready. I can't remember when. I got a break from the day job coming up. Oh man, I need it because it's just like, oh, there's so much stuff going on. We got maybe filming back to back 2 weeks. I'm still, as people I know might message, I'm still waiting to see if I can do the Oscar. There'll be an Oscar predictions next week. It's just going to be a question of if I can do it with the patrons or not, because obviously if I have to do it by myself, it'd just be during the day like this for an hour. I'd say it's like, I don't know. I think it's still 60-40 for it actually happening as far as the with the patrons. I would love it to, but it's just next 2 weekends filming on one of those days, and then I got to do 2 GM and gimmicks things with those guys. I got my auntie's birthday. And then I'm trying to find weekdays to do it, but those are always tough because school and everything. So I'm trying my best. And Kirkland has not responded to me, and like he's on like a mini vacation, so that's why I think he's like purposely done the turned the phone off, left it alone, everything like that. But he did go, I need these plans, and he's like, I'll let you know in an hour or so. Here we are, day and a half later. So that's why I haven't 100% confirmed it yet. But if there's something me and him got to do podcast wise a certain day, that's kind of it. So I would like to. It is nice tradition, but if not, I might just have to boot it till next year, unfortunately. But yeah, lots of things happening at Geek First. But like I said, yeah, I need a break coming up soon. So I'm excited for the day job break, which is sometime in March because the girls have spring break coming up. So we'll be doing that. But yeah, lots of stuff. Just did the Chamber review with David Espos and the Gimmick. Very fun episode. Lots of laughs had there. I haven't even promoted that. I'm so far behind. That's what happens though when that's the tough thing with the game reviews. I'm very excited. Check out this week. I'll pull up the calendar. Resident Evil Requiem. Me and Dylan are reviewing that tonight. I am very excited to talk about this. But that's the problem with game reviews is they take up multiple hours. So where I'd be doing other stuff, that's gone. Patrons this week, you're getting bread and butter with all four of us, the first one of the year. We don't know the topic yet. We're going to figure it out, but it should be always a good time when it's just us we're talking. And then Resident Evil Apocalypse review for you patrons as well at the Phase 2 and up tier, and then bread and butter is Phase 4. And then on Wednesday, I did make the post. If you don't have anything to say, that's okay, but I did. We're going to start the March Madness actor, the best actor, actress category. And I know I should have just said best actor because you can, even if someone's like they, them, or whatever, non-binary, like you can put them in there. I just like, I didn't know which way to say. So maybe I'll just say the best actor because even lots of times ladies like just call me an actor. I don't need actress. I don't know which way to say, but we are taking 32 people of the past 10 years that we think are the best current day. Like, because I've said before, I was always, oh, it's Fassbender, Shriver. I still say right now it's Stone, but there's so many where it's like, okay, what would be a ranking? So I'm going to make 32. You guys are going to put some submissions if you want any. I'll make the nominations, the tournament bracket, and then you guys will start voting. And then every week you'll get an update as far as it'll be a segment. I don't know if it's the whole episode, maybe the first one because it'll be a whole 32. We'll break it down, and I won't be voting at all. I'll be the only thing I'll be doing is tie breaking. So I'm gonna make the nominations, solidify those, but I won't be doing that. And as far as the like combatants, it'll be randomized too. I'm not even gonna be the one. Oh, put that guy, this girl. I'm gonna go random.org, make me that tournament, do that. So I think that's gonna be hopefully a fun time. This experiment. If we have a good time with the patrons, then we'll bring this back next year for some other stuff. I put the post there. You have until about Wednesday, and then after that, it'll be closed off. So yeah, I'm doing the next Travis Told You on Wednesday because Thursday's just a very busy day for me. And then next week, I think maybe only just one Travis Told You, maybe Oscar predictions. Also very busy because we're recording 5 Patreon stuff, and I'm filming that week. And then there's also a stream with the Gimmick Boy. So lots of stuff going on the feeds this week. So subscribe. Lots of good stuff happening. So nothing before 2015 counts. Nope, nothing. We're doing like, I thought even 10 years, I think is a long stretch. I think like technically I should have done like 5 years, but I thought because we just had the podcast 10 years, okay, let's encapsulate kind of the whole year GV or the whole run GV's been going. So yeah, nothing from that counts. So just from 2015 and on. That's why there are people like like Fassbender, which I don't even know if he's on the list. I have people that I also am going to talk about him, right? And I'm going to see what happens. I still think he can be one of the greatest, but some of his best work is um like previous 2015, right? And then a few choices, Assassin's Creed, other things like that, right? So we will see, but yeah, so anything 2015 and after, doesn't matter, TV, film, gender, age, whatever it is, throw them in there. And then yeah, Wednesday we'll solidify that. And then what we got going on Weekly Geek is on Thursday with 8 p.m. with Kirkland and Dylan. So that's a good time. Then yeah, this Sunday I think at I should move that over. I think Sunday at 11 a.m. PST, we're doing our first WWE 2K26 stream. Myself, David, and S Bobs. It's a best of 5, not GM mode. We're playing the actual wrestling game. Another thing is gonna be random. We're gonna get the wheel, spin the wheel, whatever match lands on, we have to do that. The winners and how well they do will represent the how like the ranking as far as what we do for next GM mode, like who goes first, etc. Big stakes on the line, especially knowing myself last year finished third and I lost the brand I would have wanted. That changed a lot for me. So, but I am, you know, the 3-0 GM mode god over here. It's what we do. You know what am I gonna do this week? You gonna win? I don't know. Actually, I'm going to win this one. I think I supposed to have money. I think me and Dave got to team up, but I'm going to go 4-0. It's what we do. First season, 50 weeks, going to win. It's what we do. It's what we do. And I'm excited to do said doing. And then, yeah, next week, that's the last thing too. Golden Geeks, the winners, vote for the MCU and the regular Golden Geeks. That is on the Patreon right now. That's going to be until next Wednesday. Then those will be locked up. So lots of stuff. Whether you're just on the main free feed or especially the Patreon feed, tons of stuff there. We would appreciate the support because we are creating all this new content. Big shout out to the Patreon producers. Thank you to Aaron Braden, April Darkness, Jack Grant, Super Bad, Mike, God Loves Me 69, aka Norm Reedus Fetus, Hidalgo, Lenny Kravitz, Cocktail Clay, John No H, Sam Green, and John M. So yeah, lots going on there. Let's get into this. It's just kind of a 2-topic, really. Maybe 3, but kind of 2-topic day. News is a little light, so that's good. Where the Wednesday, that's going to be, unless there's a big breaking news, will probably just be the March Madness Actors Tournament. So look out for that. Just the nominations, right? Because I got to whittle it down to 32. So, but today we got a little more details. I guess I should pull up the facts here of the deal. Obviously, this happened on the Friday or the Thursday. Me and Taylor talked a little bit about it, and now we got the actual stuff. So we're going to be talking about the deal between Warner Brothers and Paramount and the details there, some of the reaction, and then just Scream. Scream having a massive weekend. Scream 8 confirmed. I got a good question from Mike, and then also I got a question from Clay about some Spielberg stuff because, yeah, today could be a little lighter. I never know. We never know. Sometimes where someone says something in chat, or I just go on a tangent, we never know where we're going to go. So we never know the length that's going to happen, right? Taylor, always, this time last episode, always message me during Trash Told You. You'd think you would know, you know? And it's like a question. It's always like last time, talk to me about taxes, ask me about the gym stuff. My God, this man, I got to wait till he's on next time on air and just berate him with a bunch of questions. But alas, I don't think he podcasts on air this week. So cool. But anyway, so this had happened Thursday. They had announced Friday. Paramount put out a big thing. They also put out, I think, some sort of investors call or something today, which is so funny because I saw people talk, like I saw 2 headlines being like, oh, God, what's his name? Is it, I think, I'm getting the Ellisons mixed up. Whichever Ellison was, because they're Larry and David. One's the dad, one's the son that was going after this 10 times. He did this call, and he's like, "Oh, and we're very happy with the results of the DCU. There was a great year between Superman and Minecraft, and something else led to $1 billion." And I saw 2 headlines being like, "So and so Ellison is standing behind James Gunn's DC," blah blah. Like, why wouldn't he right now? Like, that's not like there's so much stuff. And I think this happens a lot, but there's just times where, especially with the Scream stuff and the boycott and everything, and I talked about it already, right? I was prepped like that's not going to do much, but it's just like, I feel like everybody has different worlds they live in. And that's where, especially like us reading this thing, when I see some people react to stuff, it's like, one, he's just saying like it was a success. That doesn't mean he didn't know. I was expecting when I listened to this 30-second clip of him like, oh, and I saw Superman loved James Gunn, creative force, really excited. Where it was just like, yeah, they're doing a good job. It's like, okay, cool. It's like what, like, and I get it. And then I talked about last week too with the Batman news, right? It just feels like right now. And you know what, John Oliver, not even, this isn't like the political side. John Oliver did a good report last week on Last Week Tonight, where he talked about so much, especially like Oh man, we're not gonna get deep into it, but what's happening with Iran and the states? There's no way a black and white issue saying anything's good or bad. Obviously, you can check my social media feeds. There's things that have happened because these are just straight up bad. But that's where it's like you tweet one about this, right? It was about what happened with the school bombs. And you tweet one thing, and then your algorithm gets toward that way. And there's so much stuff that was being reported that's unconfirmed conjecture, and that's always been the case, right? But now because of the blue check mark and people can make money, and if it spreads, it's just like you don't even know. So that idea at first where, oh, when social media started, the idea is, well, news is going to die because social media, you can just get it right away, right? And that is the case, right? Sometimes I think many of us find out news right away from Twitter, right? Especially like film news, but then at the same time, so much false stuff could go out there. So that's why I say, and this is like the little degree of like all these things, like people are just looking for the clicks, and they got me, right? I'm looking for Newsday. I see that. Oh, what do you say about James Gunn? Really nothing. Just Superman successful. Great. What else is he gonna say? It's just like lately, it was like a couple weeks ago or last week when someone asked Tony Gilroy, like, oh, what's your relationship with Dave Filoni? He's like, oh yeah, it's good. Like I met him a couple times. It's good. He told me he liked Andor. That's great. And people went like, see, he's good with Filoni. Filoni likes Andor. Of course. What's he gonna say? Yeah, I met Filoni and he was a real piece of shit. He told me Andor sucked. Like sometimes people do that, right? But in the business, same thing as Filoni when when he took over, and there's multiple articles like he doesn't like Andor, and his person reaching like, no, Dave Filoni loves Andor, he's a big fan of it. What's he supposed to say? Yeah, no, I didn't like that. He can say people behind backstage like, oh, I don't think it represents Star Wars, but publicly, is he gonna come out and diss one of his creators that won them multiple awards and stuff and acclaim? No, like why would you do that, right? Like it's just people live in this world, right? So on that side, we know nothing. And obviously, so they put out, hey, Friday, it's happening. They still have to go through all the things. Obviously, to see if it gets approved. Obviously, that depends a lot. And again, not to get political, that depends a lot on the November 2026 elections, because I think there's certain people in there right now that would easily say yes, but I think there's a lot of people that are smarter than me that at least have read upon going, okay, well, X, Y, and Z, if this person gets in here and this changes, it could be blocked, right? So we won't know for a while. It's still not going to be for like another, I don't know, probably a year or so, right? Especially if they do an investigation of any sort, even if it's for sure going to go through, it's going to happen. So we could again be talking about what's going to happen with Warner Brothers. There was a call that came out, some audio of David Zaslav being like, well, if it doesn't work out, we get $7 billion and we just get back to work. I sometimes wonder with the tinfoil hat, it's like, well, what a nice way to chip away at your debt and just like get a studio to pay you money. Because they would have to pay that, right? They would have had to pay the cancellation fee with the Netflix deal, but Paramount played that. It was 2.8, so close to $3 billion. Netflix has paid it off, good to go. They put out a statement just kind of saying it's kind of irrational, and a lot of pundits have said that obviously lots of people are not like a fan of it for political stuff, right? But to throw some of that out of there, just the idea of he and the company overpaid for this, right? Like the Netflix one was probably still a big deal, but a bit more capable, where this was, they definitely wanted it, right? You make a good case of why I want it, because that's one of the reports here that HBO Max and Paramount Plus will have a combined into one service. I still think that's probably smart. So here's the deals we're breaking out. I think it's probably smart. You don't want to split the audience, and if you have this mega corporation, why not do that? I know there was talks when Netflix had it of, oh, well, Netflix will stay and HBO Max will stay. I didn't understand that. I understand HBO, the channel, staying. I get that, but Max and Netflix, it's like, don't you kind of just maybe want to get them all there? I guess if you can get it at the same price, then whatever, but I don't know. So that's one to me. It's like, duh, Paramount Plus, once they lose Taylor Sheridan, it's not like they have a bunch of stuff on there, right? So that makes sense. Yeah, that really impacts me here in Canada. I think all this stuff's going to go to Paramount Plus, I guess, because for people that don't know, Crave is like the app that Warner Brothers uses for their content over here. So that's where we get HBO Max stuff, etc. And then other stuff like Heated Rivalry, which people think is a HBO thing. It's not. It's a Crave Canadian produced thing, right? I saw so many people reporting that, oh, Heated Rivalry is going to be in trouble. Paramount. It's like, they got fucking nothing to do with that. They maybe don't want to carry it, but Heated Rivalry will just stay on Crave and go somewhere else, right? And even then, if it's a big hit show, let's carry it. And we'll have to see, right? Because maybe they are just super, right wing, like, oh, gay hockey show. Let's not get rid of that, right? Like same thing of, it's in time, like it's in tune with this. But Max Landis is writing the GI Joe script. If people don't know who Max Landis is, he was a very I'd say, polarizing figure when there was nothing even wrong with what he had done, right? Just his opinions he had wrote. He did two things that kind of put on the map. Obviously, he's John Lance's kid. I'm talking about not just movies, but he did Chronicle. But then with YouTube, like as far as the Twitter and social media zeitgeist, he did Wrestling Isn't Wrestling, and that was big in the wrestling community. And then he did I can't remember, the Tale of Death of Superman, whatever. He did like they're pretty much stage plays of comic books or wrestling storylines, right? So he did that, and that's how I found Wrestling is Wrestling. It's a great piece of media, and I liked Max Landis. I understand why he's a grating personality, but I watched Screen Junkies and movie fights and other things. Totally get why people don't like him. And then a few years later, bunch of bad abuse allegations come out, both like mental and I think some sexual abuse or harassment in there, that type of stuff. Not good stuff, right? A lot of people, and I'm not gonna say to his credit, but like he did admit a lot. Like it came out, he was quiet, and then he just apologized a lot and said he's trying to do the work and he was younger and dumb and doing X, Y, and Z. Again, we've talked about in the show. That needs to be a longer bread and butter, like the idea of forgiveness and what you can forgive and what you can't. I don't know, but clearly a lot of people don't want to see him. But he's writing a G.I. Joe script, and it's just interesting where it's like Paramount, the Johnny Depp Scrooge thing. There was another one in the last week where it's like Rush Hour 4. Like it's that's where when people say, like, you don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen, right? But it's a lot of bad timing where people are worried about these things happening with Paramount, and then they constantly announce troublesome individual projects. But we'll have to wait and see. On that side, I won't be seeing this movie. I don't have any interest in this, really. I like G.I. Joe enough. I was down for a reboot. I was down for them doing Transformers, but I don't think they're doing that anymore. The thing that I think is, and obviously I'm sure this happens a lot in Hollywood, but this idea that Danny McBride and Danny McBride, the actor and writer now, he's writing his own script, and Max Landis is writing a script, and they're going to combine the scripts. I'm sure that does happen, right? I'm sure there's many times it's happened we don't even know, but it's not something that gets reported often, and just the sound that feels like that's a bad movie. That literally just feels like they're going to take the two scripts and put in a Chat GPT, which we'll talk about, and like make this into one script, make it sing, right? Like that feels like very against the process of creation. It's fine if they're working on it together. That happens all the time. But the idea of writing two separate scripts and putting them together, and also Max Landis, like I liked some of his stuff. Like I liked him more as a personality and like a podcaster. Didn't really love his movies per se, but what I've seen them writing some of Danny McBride, which when it's not just pure comedy, I'm not a fan of, and then Max Landis, very different. So that self is like, this sounds terrible. Like it's the idea of just combining these two scripts, and then also two people that, as far as their work, seem like they couldn't be any more different. So who knows about that? Take a look and wait for that to happen, if it even happens, right? Superman Mike says Star Trek shows are big on Paramount Plus too, and HBO quality Star Trek shows or blah blah blah. And HBO quality Star Trek shows could be pretty great. There you go. I'll take your word that they're big. I don't know anybody but just Trekkies that watch them. I don't know. Like, to me, it's just like with Yellowstone, that spread, right? With like Heat of Rivalry, that spread. I think Trek is like still, I think you, me, and Cocktail Clay have talked about this. I think Trek is on its way to being a dead franchise. I don't think people really care about Trek that much as far as the grander general audience. I think those reboot movies of JJ, people brought them in because it was like, we're not getting Star Wars, so like this will do, even though they're very different. So we'll see. To me, I'm waiting on my next movie, like the movie to come out to be my point. Like, see, I don't think so, and that's the thing is G.I. Joe. Like, because like, what's the other one I always say? Like He-Man that's coming out this year. I don't think people care about G.I. Joe. Transformers, I think you can make them care again, and you could show, okay, at least there was multi-billion-dollar movies, right? With G.I. Joe, that's not the case. And Star Trek, even in the last one, what was Star Trek? Let's see, was it 2009? Yeah, 2009. What did that make? And I'm talking to my ass. I don't even know what it made. I'm just curious here. Because like I'm saying, at least with Transformers, you can go look at all these billion-dollar movies. We can try and recapture some people, right? Star Trek, yeah, like the first one made like, even then, like look at that. If you got to double your budget, the budget's 150, to make around 300. They made 385. Like I don't think. I could see this next one coming out, and the shows are fine, but for a movie coming out and being kind of the death knell. And I think that's why, like G.I. Joe, Paramount has a lot of stuff, but a lot of stuff that I don't know if people care about anymore. Hence why you go get Warner Brothers, right? So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's where they're gonna combine the apps. So that to me makes sense. Where I lost it. All right. Here's a quick one on this. Merge company will have approximately $79 billion of debt, so it could be a little more, could be a little bit less. I guess that's a positive because the the reports last week were close to 100 million, so I guess at least it's not 100 million. It's like 20 to 21 million dollars left, or 20 billion dollars down from that, but still a lot. I don't know where that comes in as far as with the Ellisons having all this money, if they can backdoor like put some money there, do that, and then they go, look, the debt's going down fast. I'm not a master in that type of stuff. Obviously not great, and there could be a future where if they don't do any of that stuff, they sell off this movie franchise again, or the Warner Bros. Again. Just go, we'll keep, because as we know, I think they want the news and everything. Because let's see, no plans to sell off or spin off any of their cable assets, flexibility to put on sports like UFC or any cable network, which we know will continue to license movies and TV shows to other studios and platforms. Yeah. And this is where it's bad. $6 billion in cost cutting, including consolidating on tech infrastructure, real estate, corporate overheads, and more. So that just means people. That means jobs. That means departments. As usual, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. Sucks all the time. Not great for the industry, but it's just going to happen. Yeah, they got no choice, and that's where it's going to go. AI will be a tool for artists, but never a replacement for storytellers. So, and that's my point of view, or my point earlier, where maybe that's what it is. You take Danny McBride and Max Landis, because when you say, oh, well, now you need a third writer to almost script doctor those two, right? Maybe they don't. Maybe they put those two scripts in ChatGPT or whatever AI store, whatever's going to be next, right? Say, hey, could you make this into one movie? And that's the thing where, because I was talking, and we've talked about this before, I was talking about this Fanboy Clay in the G-Way network. It's like, unfortunately, it's just like inevitable now. It's like the same way where, because I saw a lot of people when Sea Dancing came out and they were going to hit with lawsuits, all this stuff. I'm like, oh, see, the people are hitting lawsuits. I mean, they don't want this use of AI. No. Companies are going to be fine with the use of AI as long as it's their AI, right? Like Disney has that AI company. So if it's like, hey, make it, just let's say, make an AI Mickey Mouse short film, right? And that's theirs that they own. No one else can license that, make money off it. Then they have no problem with it. I don't know if they're going to do that, but I think in the future they will. AI is here to stay. It sucks, but again, we were talking about on the Discord. It's just going to happen more and more because especially these big studios, maybe not the independent stuff, but even look at A24, right? Like the Brutalist had some AI in there, right? And even though it was little stuff, it had AI. And that's where it's like, even A24, which you would think, oh, they won't do that. It had that. And that, I'm not going to say sunk the Brutalist, but definitely, I think, turned some people off from voting from it, right? Which is funny because probably in 5 to 10 years, maybe all films will have AI. It's just like CGI, right? But I think it's just here to stay because either it's to keep afloat or to make a profit or to make an Uber profit. These companies care the most about money, right? So if they can get the same thing done with AI versus whatever other means and it costs more money, then AI is going to win every time. Because that's what it's all about, is how can we spend less money and make more money, right? And that's why, again, these billionaires, these companies, they're not like the good guys that we can root for or anything. And that's why it's hard to be selective, because all companies doing something. That's a little shady or questionable. And then here's one. 15 films per studio. So it'd be 30 films theatrically with a 45 theatrical windows for each film. I wonder if that's the idea to change that, because just this year, Paramount put out a movie. They put up Primate. That didn't last. The last 17 days. We talked about this, me and Taylor. We've talked about this a few times. And I think some people, I get it. I think they're a little blinded by, I think Paramount, to me, the way when I use that analogy of the date, right? And I think people have done this too, but with a 10th offer, it's like a person be like, hey, can we go on a date? Can we go on a date? Can we go on a date? And maybe you're bored, you're lonely, or just go, sure, let's go on a date. Let's see what happens. I think we've all been there. So this is the like, to me, this is somebody, whether it's for or against, let's say you're talking about getting married and you're like, you want to have, it's like, yeah, sure. But like, to me, if it's like that, where it's like an iffy thing, I said this before. Some of them want kids, clearly 5 kids. I dated and like hung out and had a good time with people that didn't want kids. Like I dated a few people that were like vehemently not going to happen, but that was fine because at that point I was just dating, or just having a good time, you know. But when I was serious, it's like, okay, if I'm going to have someone seriously, you have to at least want a kid or something like that, right? So for me, this is them being like, yeah, sure, I want that. And then if they get married, it's like, well, you know what? Actually, I've kind of changed my mind, which is not fair to anybody. Or the reverse of if both you don't want kids and like, I kind of want kids. Things can all change, right? But I think as me and Emma always watch Love is Blind, that's the shittiest thing you can do. Because I think if you want kids and someone says they do and they change, that's gonna be that person forever. And if you don't want kids and that person change, that's a little unfair because you're making a life with somebody and now they've changed your tune on you. It's like, I don't want these fucking little diaper monsters running around, right? So whichever side of the court you on, that's where it's like, okay, you're saying this, but in the past you've shown this hasn't happened. And that's why I think people have used this as like a Paramount says they're gonna do physical media. Paramount says they're gonna be theatrical. Yeah, sure. Now, while it's profitable, what happens in 5 years? They go, yeah, you know what? Making this physical media, we're really losing money on this stuff. Let's stop that. You know what? A movie like Paramount again, 45 days. Like, let's go to 30. Let's go to 20. Like, they're just gonna. And Netflix, same thing, right? When they said 45 day, that doesn't mean it's a true statement. It's just that I think people use this the very positive Paramount people that are like, look, theaters survive. Even without this deal, theaters are getting fucked right now by everything, right? By movies underperforming, by people not coming out. This whole thing, 45 days, and even then, like, I give credit to Sean Baker when he won for Norton. He's trying to do that, but it's like, it's not a case by case basis. You can leave it for 45 days, but what if you have a theater that has a movie that's in there? Let's say after 13 days, not a single, and they got to do 45 days, not a single person is buying a ticket to that movie. And they could get more money by re-releasing fucking Tarzan or Jungle Book or whatever, right? Which happens. Like, look at Lord of the Rings, right? Made like 3 million overall, and it's like re-released. Let's say it's that situation where you put out a movie. Let's say this case is going to do well. We'll talk about in box, but let's say Hoppers, right? Let's say Hoppers eats it, no one cares, everyone hates it, and then no one's seeing it. But then as a theater, the company says, no, you got to keep this in the theater 30 days. But it's like, no one's seen this. We are losing money playing this when we could do a replay of a classic movie, this, that, and even make, $16 to $20 more than what we're making here by playing Hoppers, or Primate, right? So that's where you can't do that with every film now. It's a case by case basis because there's so many options, as we've talked about before, right? So sure, they're saying that, and same thing, 30 films, like 30 films. I don't know that like, don't get me wrong. That's great. I hope that happens. I hope they're successful too. I'm somebody that I go to theaters as much as possible. Obviously, since I've had the twins, it's harder. But once they're older and the schedule's realigned and we don't wake up like this morning when Valerie's up at 4 a.m. to 5 and I can't get her to sleep. Once my life doesn't have that, I'll be back to going to seeing every theater I can and not waiting for VOD, which sometimes I have to. But not everybody's like that. Some people are many people are very fine to wait or fine to just watch someone else on streaming and see it one day and forget about it, right? So I think it's a lot of things to get the ring on the person and get them down the aisle. But is it actually true? I don't know, because we've shown before it's not. It's like if you had some say, I don't know if I want kids, but then, oh, well, I'll only get married if kids. Yeah, sure, we can have kids, maybe. Like I'm down for that. So that's where it's like, okay, is this true? I don't know. And we won't know. There's going to be lots of stuff coming out next little bit, but those are the details right now. We'll have to see what happens. It's going to be a long time again, just like the Netflix thing and the Disney Fox thing. Again, I guess my hope is that it doesn't happen and Warner Brothers somehow just stays afloat and does their own thing. I don't need just 4 studios, but hey, we don't have that control, right? Mike says that God of War image has everyone thinking it's AI. Well, what was Ryan Hurst talking about then? So I'm just taking a drink, people. When Ryan Hurst like, don't believe everything you see on the internet, and then there's multiple people running those like, is this an AI image? And the things are saying it is an AI image. It's like, well, I'm not saying it is. It's just like, it's suspicious, right? It's like this whole Jim Carrey thing. It's suspicious. Yeah, it's Kratos was one of those things that I'm gonna just go based on performance. I think he's always, and I'm not saying Ryan Hurst isn't a big guy. He is clearly. He's even putting on some more muscle because he even like slimmed down these past couple years. But at the same time, it's like Kratos isn't putting on some muscle. He's like that, and that's why. And I still would have been fine. That I get why people wouldn't have been. Mike, I think you're one of them. I still would have been fine with Dwayne Johnson. He can be a great dramatic actor, and he has that muscle. He's one of the few that looks like he could be fucking Kratos and can have some chops to do it, right? There's not many in between. So, and I think I'm fine with it. That's going to be what those adaptations are. It's going to take some second to look at it. But for me, it's all about the quality. I thought it looked like God of War. Great. Works for me. I think the more like I hate to be that person because that's what people do, but like the color grading or the look of the outside, that didn't look the greatest. I was finding the characters, even though I know Cocktail had a problem with, like the hair gel. I get that, but like just the environment just didn't scream otherworldly, right? So I think the environment was something they could have worked upon. Like but who knows? We'll see. I'll be there, watch it. We'll review that one. And then finally for this, well, I guess I'll also mention Clay's question as well too, but we'll save that for after here. And in case I don't get to it, I'll do it Thursday. But let's see. So Scream, if I can get the next page. Book, like all its records, biggest opening day, biggest opening weekend, grossed 64 million domestically, and then 33 internationally. That's big for a movie that was starting from it overperformed all of it. Like we talk about Wuthering Heights, where it's like, oh, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 30 to 40, or like 40 to 55, and then it nestled kind of in the middle there of like all the projections. The highest I saw was 50 to 60, 55 to 60, and it, just domestic, and it got to almost 65, right? It did very well. And I really don't fucking know why. I don't know why at all, because you could, because at first I went, because when I was looking into this, at first I went, is it really the Nev Campbell thing, right? Is it just like she is the Scream franchise, which I can still say she is the Scream franchise, but she's coming back. People missed her last one. Okay. But then the problem is Scream 6 opened and did better than Scream 5. They're on, because Scream 4 kind of not ate it, because I think it had a good budget, right? But Scream 4, let me just take a look. I think it like underperformed back then, and I'm not a Scream 4 fan. It's fine, enjoyable enough, but yeah, like look at that. Like that's fucking nuts. Scream 4 had a budget of 40 million, box office of 97. This made 97 this weekend. What's going on? So you could argue though, like even counting Scream 4, because I was just gonna say this franchise keeps going up, right? You could argue from 4 to 5. I don't even know what Scream 3 was back in the day, right? That's so different because like, that's like early 2000s. But let's see here. Scream 3. What did that make back in the day? 160. So big drop. And I can see why it took a little while to do that, right? And that's why they did the whole like, let's get a new franchise, a new stars, and yada yada yada. But so you go from 97 million, and then I think the next one's like 130, and then it's like 160, and then whatever that's going to be, likely going to be the biggest one, right? Because this week, what's coming out? Like Hoppers, but that's a completely different audience, right? I think Hoppers is looking to do well, which is good because you want it's reviewing well. You want original movies to do well, so we don't get Toy Story 6, 7, 8, and Monsters 6, 7, 8, and all that stuff. But this week coming out, let me see, is Hoppers, Peaky Blinders movies, and The Bride. The Bride, I'm going to try to see that. I wanted to, but again, family birthday plans got mixed up. I haven't heard back from Kirkland. I'm trying to do a double feature, but The Bride, I don't think it's going to do well. I don't think that's a movie that people are going to go out to droves to see. I think it's a fun concept, but I just don't see people paying money for that. Peaky Blinders, it'll do what it does. We won't get many results. And then Hoppers, and that's really it. So I think Scream has another weekend. Scream, I guess Hoppers will beat it, but Scream could have a March. Fucking Undertones is next week already. This is what I mean, patrons trying to do this fucking Oscar cat. Like March is just fucking super busy for some reason. Also blame Taylor and Kirkland, who took a bunch of vacations in February when we had the Patreon cast plan, and just pushed them all up. The bastards. March is just bottleneck. But that's my point. Is you could say, okay, Nev was out of Scream 6. People did really miss her. Here's the bump up. Scream 5 6 had a bump up without Nev. So back then you could say, oh, you don't need Nev Campbell. That's the bump up, right? So Nev, I don't think that is definitely a factor, but it's not the factor, right? Could be the quality, maybe. I'm not the biggest fan of Scream 6, but as I found out during our review, which you go check out until I reviewed Scream 7, and then also Kyle Goldface in our Patreon listened, and he's like, yeah, you seem to like it in your opening statements. I was like, really? And I guess because I said before, I just hate the third act and the killer reveal in Scream 6, I thought of it at so much lower. So I've never rewatched it. I'm gonna rewatch 5 and 6 because I gotta submit that, because in my review for Scream 7, I did say that it's my second least favorite, and that still might be the case. But now I'm just gonna say it's tied for last because I really don't know till I rewatch. Because now I'm thinking Scream 6 for me was just like I lots of good shots, some great moments, but just didn't love the ending. If that's the case, then I would put over 6, right? But at the same time, I know people like S Bubs, he gave that thing a fucking 5, and people thought that was really fun, right? So it could be a situation, is it quality, where I can agree that quality doesn't always save a movie, but in a franchise, like we talked about the MCU last week, if you keep coming back and it's good and it's good and it's good, if you see the poster for Scream 7, you go, oh, this is probably gonna be good because the last one was, right? That's where I think we'll get a drop for 8, but as long as I keep it relatively budget, like, and even then, what is the budget for Scream 7 right now, right? Like, it's probably 30, 40 million, and they're laughing right now. Scream 7 budget of 45 million. They're laughing. They've already done double and they're going to make more, right? So they're set, right? And that's where even the last one or the next one, if they make 4 or Scream 8, which they are, they confirmed they were at first last week. It says if it does well, there's plans, and then it's like they're shooting in the fall. In the fall, we're gonna get to the point where it's gonna be like the Saw or Paranormal. We're gonna get a Scream every year, right? So I really don't know. I think it's a combo. I think people did really like 5 and 6 because I loved 5 and 6. You know, I got to go back return to. So, but I still enjoyed it enough that wasn't bad, right? Got me to this. Where after 7, I was like, you know what? Scream 8, I need to see some previews. I'm not really sold. I don't know if I need to see this in theaters because Scream 7 was just kind of very mediocre, right? Kind of like the Conjuring Last Rites effect. Yeah, but again, that still had the, like, I think anytime the movie can do like the final, the last, this didn't have that, right? At one time they will do the last time you see Nev Campbell and Scream, and that will give it a bump. But I see what you mean there. So I think it's with Nev. I think it's with the quality of the other ones. I think it's just a good time slot. There wasn't much going on this weekend. That's a bunch of older movies, and we haven't really got a horror movie yet. I don't know what it's gonna say for undertones. I mean, like a bigger horror movie, right? Like Psycho Killer ate it, right? Let's see, because that got very, very bad reviews, and that showed too. This is the worst reviewed Scream. Doesn't matter. This, and I talked about this many times, so this will be the last time I talk about it. Social media is such a hard thing to gauge, right? Everyone's mad, everyone's bummed about the Switch. There's boycotts. There's this. People are doing little rallies outside the premiere. But that's where it's like sometimes social media is great and can help spread stuff, and you do learn the news, you learn how people feel, but then sometimes you got to remind yourself that it is just a bubble. The amount of users that are on there. And I've said this before too. I talked about this in the box office bombs, and I think it's going to bomb. Coyote versus Acme. When all that stuff was happening, I'll go. I am a fucking Muppets, Looney Tunes fan. Me and the girls were apparently one of the only few people that saw the day that Earth stood still or blew up, right? Because that made like 13 million. I will go and see and support it. But how many people that made a big deal and say it's the death of cinema and fuck Dave Zaslav and fuck these people, I would see this, like, this would do so well. How many people actually pay out to see it? I feel like whenever it comes out, we're gonna be sitting here talking about, yeah, it underperformed, didn't do well, and yet because I still can agree that Looney Tunes might be a brand that's kind of on the more dead side, unfortunately. And that's where same thing with Screen 7. And I'm part of that too. I never was part of the boycott because I understood where the company was coming from. I think it's shitty. And I gave my whole, go back to Travis Told You because Mike asked me about it. I gave my whole speech about last week of where I stand and the things I see and don't see, right? I thought it was shitty, but I never was going to boycott it because there are certain things I boycott, and there's other people involved, and I was like, fine enough to see this, right? But if there was enough people, they lied it and they still showed up, or it wasn't really that big and people are just coming out still, right? So that's the thing where that stuff, it's not that it doesn't matter, right? Yeah, I'm that right. Thank you, Mike. We were going for that. See tangents. Yeah, 10 years later, Bone Temple. That to me, like what Scream happened here, that's like, and I know Mike, you're in the chat. I know Dylan, he did the review. Not big fans of this movie, but take yourself out of it. You got to think about like the last one reviewed well, and this one coming out in January, which some bad though, right? You'll spend money in Christmas, no money left over, but still no competition really. Reviewed well, reviewed better than the last film, right? Which I don't agree with, but reviewed better than the last film. Where this is coming out after a couple horror movies, worst reviewed Scream movie, has other controversy, does the best ever. Make it make sense. And it doesn't. It really doesn't, right? So, because you had Bone Temple, that ate it. I'm talking about for horror movies. Return to Silent Hill, that ate it. Iron Lung did very well, but that was in juxtaposition of the budget. But 50 million still did great. But that's like a different case, different following. But still, that astronomically well. But I think that did well not just it was a horror movie, right? Strangers Chapter 3 ate it. Cold Storage, I think, probably ate that. And then Psycho Killer, then Scream. So Scream is like the first horror movie to come out and do very big, right? So that's the thing where, and I don't know, Ready or Not, that's coming out when? That's coming out March 20th. I don't think that's going to do particularly well. You got the Bride and Hoppers. Bride's going to eat it, but Hopper's different universe. Undertones, I think they're just going to, I don't think it costs that much. So they're just hopefully it can be like a breakout hit, not what happened to Psycho Killer, where it's going to end up making like, I don't know, 2 to 5 million, like not even. Like I think like it's like what's Psycho Killer at right now? Psycho Killer. Oh no, it came out with the Talking Heads song movie. Da, 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 da. That's gonna fit. Yeah, budget 10 million. It's at 2 million now. It's gonna what maybe break 3, if that. Right. I'm not saying Ready or Not is gonna do that, but I just mean I have less because I'm something that I love Ready or Not. I'm not seeing Ready or Not 1 because it just looks the same. Now at least with Scream it's different because I've had other people like there's been and I'll go into Mike's question about how it's been different. I've seen different Screams, so I can hope that there's something different. Where now I do feel like we're kind of in a holding pattern. With Ready or Not, I just feel I was very uninspired by the plot when that came out. It's like, oh, we're just doing this again, right? Was not a fan of that. The Mummy Returns, if anything, I think The Mummy would do better than Ready or Not, and then They Will Kill You also eat it. So I don't feel good about Ready or Not 2. Hopefully it reviews well, but I could see it underperforming. But yeah, Scream 8's confirmed, and I think even though if it's not the whole case you can make it, and have Campbell get a pay bump and say, hey, look, I came back, it's even bigger. Fuck you, pay me, and maybe that's the case, right? And then Mike asked about this. Hearing lots of reviews or movie commentary saying Scream has lost its status as one of the two most consistent horror franchise, other than being Evil Dead. Would you agree with the statement? How bad would Evil Dead Burn have to be to lose that title? It's an interesting comparison. I think I still agree on Scream because, as I said in the review in this, I still did not fail this movie. I think some people were overzealous, and we talk about this in the Discord, right? Where there's some people that were in the boycott crowd, dropping a one, were Scream. I think there is some of that, right? So to move away from the noise, it's like I've seen much, much worse horror movies, slasher movies, etc. It's just like a very fine Scream movie. That's where it is. There's some really bad stuff in there, and there's a couple good stuff in there. There's a couple. I send the non-spoilers, so it's no spoilers. There's like 2 moments where there is some fun twists where you go, oh, that's a clever. I like that they did zig when they usually zag, right? Okay. And I give them kudos to they watch the Scream movies. What can we do differently? And they do some things, right? So I still would have it up there because it's tough because horror movies and franchises, there's so many that are just shit, right? Like Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday 13th, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw, like April. I know you're out there. You love Texas Chainsaw. Some of those sequels are godly awful, just awful, right? Same thing with Saw. So that's the thing where I don't think Scream has a godly awful one yet. So I think it's still up there. And the reason I think it's kind of tough, like, because what? We have 4 Evil Dead and now 7 Scream. It's tough to and the reason why I wouldn't compare it to Evil Dead, because Scream has been dropping at a more consistent rate time-wise. There's 3 more movies. I would kind of, it sounds weird, I would tie them together. Yes, the quality of Evil Dead I would put above Scream because Scream 6 and 7 for me are a bit more middling, where Evil Dead, what for me, it's like, I can't remember what I gave the first one, but that's like a 9 or a 10. I think I gave it 10. Second one's like a 9 or a 10. Is Evil Dead at 5 now? I'm not counting the newest one. Oh yeah, no, you're right, because Army of Darkness and Army of Darkness still, I think I'm probably like an 8 or something. You go back on Patreon. That's another thing you do in Patreon. All our episodes are up there. We reviewed every single Evil Dead, and then both Rise and 2013, remake, reboot, whatever. I'm a 10 on those. So the consistency, like Scream's not that way for me, but I still think it deserves to be up there with it. I think because it only has 2 more movies, and then you have that. Like Evil Dead's definitely one. I'll say for now, let's cycle back this maybe when Evil Dead 6 comes out, right? And that's like that scares me when they're talking about Scream 8 being filmed in fall. I was somebody where we talked about this in the retro where they put out the 2013 movie and it did very well, and then it took another 10 or so years to get Rise, and that did very well. And I was like, well, let's not do this again. It never made any sense I've done this search up many times, but to look up the budget of the 2013 one, let's just see. Obviously, tons of stuff happened, right? And then the show budget 17 million, made 97 million. How did they fucking take 10 plus years to make a sequel? That makes very little sense, right? But now my worry of we got Evil Dead Burn coming out, right? And then what's the other one? Mike or anyone in the chat, if you know what the next one is, they're coming out. I think it's gonna be like this year and then 27. I worry it could get in that paranormal saw, like, well, we've like you talk about Blumhouse, we can make them for cheap. Let's do that. Go forward. Don't get me wrong. I talked about this on the either the box office like Fallout or on Evil Dead Rise. I think the good thing about Evil Dead, where Scream you can definitely play with and do a lot of different things, but it's still consistently a slapper and a whodunit had a certain tone. Evil Dead, look at 1, 2, and 3. Just those three alone. Very fucking different movies. Rise and 2013 are, I think, very similar. Very gross, very claustrophobic, very scary, disturbing stuff, right? Army of Darkness, sure, you have disturbing stuff. I think there's ways in Evil Dead that I do think one of these should be more comedic because there's more people that prefer. I think Evil Dead 2, I think I probably gave it 10 or at least 9. I think is an amazing movie, right? But I still prefer 1 and 13 because I like just the more horror side of it, right? The straight horror, very scary, very gross, gonna be stuff of nightmares, right? So that's where, but there's people that have that preference that like Army of the Darkness more or Evil Dead more, Ash versus Evil Dead, right? And they haven't done that in a while. Maybe they're gonna feel that that will turn some audiences away. But if you're doing a movie like 2 years in a row, one of those movies should be different. It can't just all be the 2013 style, right? Wrath. That doesn't sound like a funny movie. Thank you, Mikey. Wrath doesn't sound like a funny movie, but I guess neither does Army of Darkness, right? That just feels like a very cheesy, like old school comic strip, like the Army of Darkness. So yeah, I hope there's some different. I hope it could retain it, but let's see. Evil Dead's going to catch up with it, and that's where I think it could be. But I still think Scream, I'll leave it as tied because there's no godly awful movie. There's not many franchises in general, but for horror, like, let me just quickly search greatest horror franchises of all time, right? IMDb. Okay, let's go down the list. Already I see these and there's stinkers in there. Exorcist stinkers. Halloween 2 stinkers. And I'm not saying some of these could have one film that's better than all. I'm just saying, is there a movie that I would fail and have a very low grade on? Yes. Friday 13th, yes. Nightmare on Elm Street, even though I love it, yes. Alien, absolutely. Predator, absolutely. Scream, not there yet. Thing, well, that's 2 movies that are a franchise. Hellraiser, absolutely. The Living Deads, I don't know them well enough. I'm sure there is. Poltergeist, Pet Cemetery. Even the first Pet Cemetery is ranked as 18th best franchise. There's 3 of them, and the first one has a 38 Metacritic score. Child's Play, sorry Taylor, you know there's stinkers. Candyman, there's stinkers. Omen, there's stinkers. Like It, even then people would say maybe It movie 2, but I don't disagree. Like, it's still up. Leprechaun, that's got some stinkers. Like I'm trying to find more of the newer one. Ghostbusters, that's got some stinkers. These are all older movies. Jaws, that's got stinkers. Ring, yeah, Porno Activity, The Mummy, The Purge. You know, the first Purge very underwhelming. Final Destination, I don't know that franchise, but people told me they're stinkers. So I still give it the title. I give it the tie with Evil Dead. If you put a gun to my head, say, hey, who's the winner? I go with Evil Dead. But Scream, it's done enough that it still deserves to wear that crown for a little bit. So there you go. We'll see. And then, yeah, Hopper's going to do very well. Bride, what was the rest of the box office this week? Goat and Wuthering Heights still doing well. Goat, 12 million. Wuthering Heights, 12 or 6 million. I think it's at like what, 180, 190 something, 191. That's great. It's going to, last week I questioned, is it going to make 200? But then I decided it will, and we're gonna, so that's great. Let's see. Number 4 was 21 Pilots, More Than Ever We Imagined. All right, didn't know that was a movie. And then the Epic Elvis concert, Crime 101 still in there, 3 million, and Sent Help still in there, 2.8 million. Zootopia gonna be on Disney Plus in like a week or so, still made 1.4 million. Good for that. Yeah, so about the same. We'll have to see what happens with The Bride. That's the one that I'm curious because it costs money. I hope it breaks out. Hoppers, and I hope it does well. I'm excited to see Hoppers eventually with the kids. they got ski lessons right now, so the weekends are very busy, just for them. So it's hard to do things with them. So, but I probably will see that in spring break. So don't expect any reviews next week for that. And then finally, and I don't have a great answer for this. I did tell him, but 3 months out from disclosure day. This is from Cocktail Clay. And oh, if you join Patreon, you can send a question even on the free feed when I do this for Travis Told You. Just got to join the Patreon. So, if you want your voice heard, there you go. Curious to what your Spielberg's ranking would be if you need a bigger category for today. If you want me to rank every film, And I have said this already multiple times that I had to finish. How much time have I got here? Let me just check my clock here. My clocker. My ticker. Okay, I got enough time to talk about this a little bit. I got deterred because obviously I was spending long playing the Resident Evils to catch up or replay some. And then I, in like 2.5 weeks, watch every episode of Peaky Blinders. I'd either never seen one or saw the first episode. I was like, I swear you watched the first episode. Maybe I did, right? But that's the way the world is. So much content, etc. Just taking water. So for you people out there that think it goes quiet and you're like, what happened? I watched that. I guess I can mini preview that because I think we're going to try to review it or talk about it. Oh, excuse me. Fucking absolutely love this show. I hate that we redid our top 10 TV shows and games list because I'd probably have some additions or changes. I don't know. I have to sit on more. Peaky Blinders was a very Travis show. Not only do I love Cillian Murphy, but to me I love Sons of Anarchy, but it was like a better version of that. I just was on a Peaky, and I had to finish it because the movie's out this week, and I want to because always want to watch the series, so that gave me a reason. I want to go to the theater, support it. Love Cillian, love Ferguson, love Barry Keoghan. So is there Barry Keoghan? I have to figure. I got to listen to his interview. At one point I had it, and then I feel like I heard other people say it wrong a few times, and then now I've been saying it wrong. So I want to catch up, and I absolutely loved it. We'll talk. I'll do more talk like when we do the review, but it's one of those things where I've said after one battle after another last year, I wanted to rewatch or watch some Paul Thomas Anderson movies that I'd not seen before and really have a ranking, right? Because Mike asked me that question. And Spielberg, I've definitely seen it. Well, he has more movies, but I definitely saw like a bigger catalog of, but like, I think there's still probably stuff I haven't seen like I can give you a top 5, but even then there's just so much stuff. Oh man, is producing. He produced Tiny Toons University. Look at that. Let's see here. Actor. Oh, he was in Paul. He just did a voice in that. Why did I pick actor? I'm trying to see what he directed. He directed 60 things. Like I'd have to start from the very beginning. Where is that at the very beginning? That's not what I thought was the very beginning. Maybe I'm wrong. Cause I see a movie called Shorts. Cause what's that movie with the Duel? Yeah, that's his first movie, right? Big fan of Duel. Jaws, Close Encounters. But yeah, there's like the Sugarland Express. I haven't seen that. I think that's just a movie. There you go. 1941. I think it was some of the like lesser ones. Let's see. Raiders, E.T., Twilight, Close Encounters, Jaws. Color Purple, saw a long time need to see, and that's the problem. A lot of these I have seen. Empire of the Sun, Color Purple, long time where I barely even remember them. Always, I've never seen. Hook, avid defender of Schindler's List. I got to see it a long time. Olmsted, haven't seen a long time. AI, I feel like artificial intelligence. I feel like I half saw that. Saving Private Ryan's been a while. Catch Me If You Can. I just watched that recently. War of the Worlds, his last great movie. Munich. So I've seen like his biggest ones, right? Bridge of Spies. That was not my. I like some of these, like the Post, Bridge of Spies, West Side Story, Failmans. There's just a few that were just not for Travis in this last decade. I'm sorry for people. Adventures of Tintin, I've never watched, so I think I've seen the biggest ones. So, but I think I can say this easily, Clay, because even if I were to go, I'm gonna do a rewatch because this is a favorite versus best list, right? I think right now I'm in the middle. I did have to pause it, so people I'm sure will be mad, but I'm watching Hamnet. People know how I feel with Chloe Zhao. Not like the biggest fan. I do enjoy, or I appreciate her as a filmmaker. I think she's a wonderful talent. I think the movies are very well made, but I don't enjoy her movies that much. And obviously, this was a movie about the death of a child. This is a movie that even if it was like great, I'd never watch it again. I like the dark, depressing horror movies, and even then, people go, "Oh, well, Travis, you like depressing movies?" In a different aspect, right? Like a superhero depressing. Even Peaky Blinders. There's one season that's very trash coded, and I love it. And it's not that it's like so depressing. It's just like, oh, all the family hates each other, and we're gonna deal with that, and everyone's very moody. So that's where it's like Schindler's List. I don't think would ever be in my top five because I feel like the movies that I watched when I was a kid that stuck with me where I'm like, this is the best, and also favorite is like a Goodfellas, is a Pulp Fiction, right? Where I think Schindler's List, I was like, not a cross off. It's like, okay, I've seen this, it was great, and then I'm gonna move on, right? So that's where, and maybe I'll watch again, and I will think, oh, it has to happen. So I do want to. I think that's my next one. Clay is Spielberg to go back and watch almost all his movies. All his movies I watch all the time of his, like Hook. I don't care. That's one where I found out later on that it was considered a bad movie. Clay Hook's a top fiver for me. Me and Emily love that. We've got the kids that love that. We do Hook at least once a year. That's I'd say at least five, but it's in there. But if I could give you a top five, that's what I mean. Like if I rewatch and stuff, like if I rewatch Schindler's List and Empire of the Sun, do I think that's gonna bump Hook? Probably not. If I watch Always, this movie that I've never heard of from Steven Spielberg, is that gonna bump it? Probably not. What's Always? What is Always? Let's see here. The spirit of recently deceased expert pilot mentors a newer pilot while watching him fall in love with the girlfriend they left behind. What the fuck? John Goodman, Richard Dreyfuss, and Holly Hunter. What? What is this? What is this movie? Oh my god! Now I am excited, but there's a couple I haven't. So I do want to have like a definitive list. Same thing with Scorsese. I've seen, I think most of his stuff. I'm somebody that like when people know and talks about silence, I'm talking about fucking silence. You know, I love silence. But same thing. I want to do an older like a rewatch. I just rewatched Taxi Driver a couple weeks ago, so that was kind of the start. So I will get there at some point on a letterbox share. But as far as like top five, I already know it's like I don't know order, but I know it's Hook, Temple of Doom, and then Jurassic Park. So I know those are the top three. Let's see here. And even Jaws, I have to rewatch. Jaws, since I feel like Jaws, I still saw it at like a younger age. It didn't like stick with me as like Jones or Hook did, right? But let's see here. Oh, I love Minority Report. Yeah, like I feel like for favorites, it's probably Jurassic Park. I'm just gonna, yeah, I'll still put Temple under Jurassic Park. I'm a big Temple of Doom guy. Him and Lucas say they regret it because they wrote when they're going through divorces, felt they made it very dark. I love when the franchise gets darker. Hell yeah, I loved that. I love Temple of Doom. You know, sometimes racial problems aside, love that movie. But I'll still put it on Jurassic Park. Hook and Minority Report might be up there for top five, and then I feel like it's like a toss, and that's where I need to watch them. It's like a toss up between like a Schindler's List or a Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, like I see. That's what I feel bad about, Clay. I have to because like I've said this before. Jurassic Park is that there's a finite of movies where you could say that's the greatest movie of all time, and I'd say, oh, I know about that. Jurassic Park is one of those I think it is. It does every single thing you'd want a movie to do. Now, granted, I know it's very weird, but that's what I said about Everything Ever All at Once, right? Like my newest answer where it's like, that's the greatest movie of all time because you have everything. Now, you don't have sex stuff in Jurassic Park, but that's not even needed, right? You got the horror, you got the comedy, you got the romance, you got the love, you got the comedy, the drama, everything you want in a movie, perfectly balanced, perfectly paced, perfectly acted, written, everything. That's fucking Jurassic Park, right? So yeah, that's just some of them, Clay. But yeah, there you go. I don't have like a strong fifth. Like Catch Me If You Can, I watched recently. I love Catch Me If You Can, so maybe I'll put that up there too. That's some of the newer stuff. But again, I've seen that more recently, so I do have to come back around to this. So maybe when we get closer to Disclosure Day, yeah, Third Kind, that was another great one too. When we get that, I will have some more watch because with the PTA rewatches, I have. What do I have? Paul Thomas. Because I just watched Punch Drunk Love, which I absolutely loved. I can't remember if I put, there's one of the movies I put like I had watched some of it, but not all of it. So I counted it as like this was my first time. I can't remember which one of his, but damn, 48 Things, but it's a bunch of music videos. It's not helping me. Boogie Nights I just did. Magnolia I want to rewatch, but I wasn't on any streaming services. Punch Drunk Love, and then There Will Be Blood. The Master, which I absolutely loved. Inherent Vice I'm not rewatching. I've tried twice. That's enough for me. I know where I can rank it. Let's see here. Phantom Thread I will rewatch. And then Licorice Pizza I need to watch because I've never got around to that. So yeah, I have three movies left the PTA ones. So what? Licorice Pizza, Phantom Thread, and then Magnolia. I think that's all I got. Oh no, and there is for his first movie I've ever seen was Hard Eight. I will try to watch it. It was just no streaming service. It was Philip Barker Hall, Gwyneth Paltrow, and John Riley. A stranger mentors a young troubled Reno gambler. That's it. So I got four, and then I'll probably be moving on to Spielberg and going from there. So, got to do a director March Madness one. Oh, that'd be it. That'd be a good one. Yeah, I've thought about franchises or certain movies or like John, but a director's, yeah, that would be good. I feel like there's two poles of that. Like I could do like I could do the current day one because I think that would be fun because I feel like we know what the all timer is gonna do. And even then Spielberg, I still would put him in the 32 because I know there's a lot of people like Clay that still love a lot of like I know so many people that like Fablemans is like one of their Spielberg ones. I didn't get there. Again, very well made movie. It's like Chloe Zhao right now. So I still probably would be more interested in like current day directors just because I feel like the top 10 to 8 are like you're gonna see okay, Scorsese, Tarantino, Nolan, Fincher, Kubrick. Who else is gonna be in there? Maybe Bigelow, Cameron. Like I would like to do okay. And maybe not 2015 because there's a few directors obviously don't direct as much, but maybe like since like 2010 even like in the last close to 30 years, right? So no, that'd be a good one. West Side Story gave us Rachel Zegler, and I'll always be grateful for that. Yeah, honestly, just not my bag, right? West Side Stories are the type of musicals that weren't for me. I watched about half of it with Emily, so I never graded it or anything. I just watched enough to know. I give myself with the Oscars every year a rule of like, there's one movie you can skip if you really don't want to. Hamnet was almost that, but the reason I want to see that is because she is gonna win the Best Actress, right? I know there's movies that are going to absolutely win nothing but maybe technical awards, which I can see and hear other people's opinion, and I don't have to watch. Then I go, okay, I'm going to skip that one, right? Because right now I agree with April. I have to see that Rose Byrne to me that should be her Oscar, but I had never seen until soon Hamnet, so I could not say that, right? So that's where I had to see it. But yeah, West Side Story, watched enough of it. You know what? This is not for me. I'm not a musical guy. I have started to appreciate musicals more, and I have more movies now that I could say, oh, I did really enjoy this, right? Like the Tick Tick Boom one with Andrew Garfield, La La Land. I feel like there's some other one in there the past few years. Joker 2 was not that. But like it has grown at least my enjoyment of musicals, but it's still all right. It's like if there's a certain meal that has to be cooked well for you and to enjoy it, like a cooked a certain way, that's musicals. And West Side Story for me, very well made, and it was well out for what I saw. Just not my stuff. Even okay, there you go. Even Wicked, right? Like I enjoyed Wicked more. The first one, I enjoyed Wicked more than I thought I was going to. I was completely ready to throw that in the bag of, yeah, the same for me, dog. Two, I'd throw that in there, but that's for different reasons. Wicked 1 surprised me. So there's still a few I can enjoy. Just West Side Story is just too procedural in a way, too old timey like a musical. So yeah, there you go. That is it for Travis Told You today. I will be back on the Wednesday. So if you have any actors for the Actor March Madness, put them in there to the cutoff Wednesday, and that should be a fun time. And I promise when you hear from me next,